Hello everyone, today I'm going to be discussing about how to effectively study for the GCE with the time you have left, because I think you guys have about 50 days or 51 days or about that range left to study for the GCE. So there are some difficulties that I know some students are facing. Most of you have been getting to me concerning how to effectively prepare for the GC in this period. So that is why I'm putting out this video there for you to watch. So endeavor to share with your friends so they can also benefit from the proposed solutions I'm going to be giving. All right. Okay, so I'm not going to be writing much on my screen. Okay, so you have to be very attentive to what I'm going to be saying. So I'm going to talk about the real problems that many students are facing in this period. The first is the problem of sleep. The second is a problem of fear and discouragement. And the third is actually difficulties while studying. So we are going to address these three problems. There are probably many other problems, but I think these are the three major problems that students always face in this period, especially after the mock. So we are going to be addressing each of these problems in the upcoming slides and how to tackle the problems. Alright, so let's begin with the problem of sleep. So basically, sleep takes most of your time if you actually sleep for so long. For example, a student who sleeps for, let me take my calculator. Okay, a student who sleeps for maybe 6 hours every day. Now, this student actually has approximately 50 days to prepare for the GCE. Okay, that's 50 days to start writing the GCE, not 50 days to prepare. Now, if a student sleeps for 6 hours every day, in these 50 days, the student is going to sleep for 300 hours. If we divide by 24, the student is going to sleep for about 12.5 days. So let's say about 15 days, because there are some days that some students sleep for more than 6 hours. So you realize that in the 50 days you have to write in the 50 days you will start writing the GCE. You're going to sleep for about 15 days inside those 50 days, which means that the remainder is, I think, 35 days. So you're going to have at most 35 days to actually prepare, but I don't think you actually be preparing for the rest of the hours when you are not sleeping, because you have some house chores to do, you have school to attend, and so many other things. Okay, so you see, this problem of sleep is very important to note, because if you don't reduce the number of hours you sleep every day, it's going to be catastrophic at the end. So so many things can cause somebody to sleep for a very long time. First of all, could be the fact that maybe the day was very tiring and it was very difficult for you to get up and study, or it could be the fact that you are so addicted to sleep that you might set your alarm and the alarm rings and you don't even notice, or maybe you actually notice and you off the alarm and you go back to bed. So there are so many causes of you sleeping for a very long time. So first of all, the only thing I have to say is that if you are not aware about these problems, if this awareness is not being created, you're going to continue sleeping for this long. Okay, now everything is all about determination. No matter how addicted you are to sleep, if you are very determined, you're going to get up and study. But the thing is also that you might also be very determined and you set your alarm at the wrong time, taking us what we call the sleep cycle. Now the sleep cycle just tells us probably when to set the alarm if we sleep at this time, and when not to set the alarm if we sleep at this time. So for an average human being, is the sleep cycle is, I think, 2 hours or 1 hour 30 minutes. This does not mean that you should sleep for 2 hours or 1 hour 30 minutes. It means that if you sleep for 2 hours and somebody wakes you up, you will get up without any problem. Okay, because when the sleep cycle is being initiated, there is a hormone that is responsible for it. So imagine that you start sleeping at maybe t equal to 0, and your sleep cycle is 2 hours, and then somebody is waking you up after 1 hour 30 minutes. It's going to be almost impossible for you to get up, or when you wake up, your body is going to, in fact, your body is not going to respond to that stimulus. Okay, so you, in fact, at that moment, your body is telling you that you're supposed to be sleeping, because there is a hormone responsible for it, and the availability of that hormone has not expired. So that hormone is telling you that you are still within your first sleep cycle, which is 2 hours. So it will be very difficult for you to get up. Now imagine somebody is waking you up after 2 hours 30 minutes. You realize that you are inside the second sleep cycle. In fact, you have just started the second sleep cycle. So it's going to be very difficult for you to get up, or when you wake up, your body is going to be paining and stuff like that. Okay, so you need to know exactly when to set your alarm. So if maybe your sleep cycle is 2 hours, you can start testing. You can say, okay, let me try for 2 hours. All right, so what you do is that maybe you sleep for 2 hours and you tell somebody to wake you up, and you see the reaction of your body. You also sleep for 1 hour 30 minutes and you tell somebody to wake you up, so you see the reaction of your body. But it is important that if your sleep cycle is 2 hours, then you should sleep for at most 2 sleep cycles in this period, which means that the maximum number of hours you're supposed to sleep is 4 hours. Okay, in fact, just sleep for 4 hours. Don't sleep for more than 4 hours, because if you sleep for more than 4 hours, it means you'll be sleeping for 6 hours, and you know that if you sleep for 6 hours, you know the outcome. In 50 days you will sleep for 15 days, which is very bad in this period. Yes, it's very bad in this period. So if your sleep cycle is 2 hours, you should sleep for 2 sleep cycles, which is 4 hours, which means when you start sleeping, you should set your alarm after 4 hours. So your alarm should not be at a constant time. You should not be that I'm going to set my alarm at 3 a.m. every day. It depends when you sleep. Okay, so if you're sleeping at 10 p.m., sorry, your alarm is supposed to be set after 4 hours. So you can be taking something like you can set 2 alarms, maybe one at 2 a.m. and one at 2:30. Okay, because sometimes your body is also not responding to you waking up. Now it does not mean that if your sleep cycle is 2 hours, after 4 hours you easily get up. No, 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 no. You are too addicted to sleep, so it will be very difficult for you to actually respect this. But your body is supposed to be adapted to it, maybe after like 1 week of trying and forcing yourself to get up. Okay, because you need to first of all be up before we start talking about the other problem. So the first problem is sleep, so you need to be awake before we now tackle the other problems. But if you're not awake, there is no need to be tackling the other problems. So make sure you try to study yourself, to know your sleep cycle, so that you know exactly when to set your alarm after sleeping at this time, so that you know exactly when to get up. Okay, now if your sleep cycle is 1 hour 30 minutes, the week sleep cycles is 4 hours 30 minutes. So at least it is still equivalent to somebody who sleeps for 2 hours in a sleep cycle and getting up after 4 hours. So if your sleep cycle is 1 hour 30 minutes, you'll be setting your alarm after 4 hours 30 minutes. Okay, so that's just the problem of sleep. So we have seen the problem of sleep and how to combat that problem. So let's move on to the next problem, which is fear and discouragement. Okay, so in this period, the things that can cause a student to be afraid or discouraged is the mock results, and also what you wrote. Even without the mock results, how difficult the mock was, because you realize that maybe you've been studying for a very long time for you did a whole academic year in lower seed, and I think about 80% of the academic year in upper seat, and you're writing the mock and it's like the things are not moving. The questions are a little bit complicated for you, or very, very complicated for you. So with that, even without getting your results, you already be afraid and you'll be discouraged. Okay, discouragement especially for those who maybe have been intensively studying and made so much mistakes in the mock. And then fear, mostly for those who maybe are not really have not really been studying, and after writing the mock they realize that they have a lot of work to do. So there is a tendency that you're going to be afraid. Okay, it is natural for everybody whenever the exam is approaching and maybe you encounter problems that you have difficulties in solving, and the concepts are entirely new to you. You become afraid, but do not be afraid, because you are going to see how to combat this problem of fear and discouragement. So what you do is that you just have to, after we have combated the problem of sleep, you now have to be, once you're awake, you now have to solve the problem of fear and discouragement. Because when you are awake and you have a study timetable that you can follow, you realize that even with the fear and discouragement, you can boost your confidence if you follow this timetable and things are working out for you. Okay, now it's also important to take into consideration the fact that we always need to put God first in everything we do, because the Bible tells us that with God all things are possible. And the Bible also emphasizes on the fact that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. All right, so we should also be mindful about the fact that there is a supreme being up there who watches on our every moves, who sees our hard work, and who is going to reward everything that we sow. Definitely everything we sow we are going to reap. So if you don't study, don't expect to reap a success result at the end of the day. All right, so remember, everything you sow you are going to reap in one way or the other. So do not be discouraged. Make sure you take your studies very seriously. In the next problem I'm going to be combating, you're going to see how to draw your effective study timetable and how to follow the timetable. So make sure before you start studying you always pray and commit everything in the hands of God, because without him everything we are doing is basically in vain. So always try to commit everything you do. All right, always pray that God should reward your hard work. Always pray for wisdom. That's very important, because with wisdom you can be able to study smartly, not necessarily always studying, but when you have the wisdom on how you're supposed to study, then when you want to study you know exactly how to study and not to waste your time. So the prayer for that is always very important. All right, so let's move on to the last thing we have to combat, which is how to combat difficulties in studying. All right, so combating difficulties in studying, the first thing is I have proposed a timetable that you can use from Monday to Friday. You can set up your own timetable for Saturday and Sunday. So this is just a proposed timetable. Okay, so the timetable says that in the morning you need to be up by 3 a.m. So you study from 3 a.m. to 4:15. On Monday you have maths, then from 4:15 to 5:15 you have biology. You can prepare for school, you go to school, because I believe that you guys have Easter holiday classes, so you prepare and go to school. Then maybe in school you have your own personal timetable you follow. When you return back at home, if you return a little bit earlier, you could attach another section of this timetable before 8 p.m. all right, you can attach something else, but this timetable is maybe for those who have practicals in school and return very late. So this is 8 p.m. to 9:30 you have physics on Monday, and from 9:30 to 10:30 you have chemistry. You realize that from 10:30 to 3 a.m. I think it's 4 hours 30 minutes. Yes, because from 10:30 to 2:30 is 4 hours, then to 3 a.m. is 4 hours 30 minutes. So I was taking into consideration someone whose sleep cycle is who is going to sleep for three sleep cycles, where each of your sleep cycle is 1 hour 30 minutes. So if you return back from school earlier, you could attach another section of this timetable, maybe if you return back from school in this Easter holiday classes, maybe at 4 p.m. you could attach from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. and from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. or from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. and then you rest, then maybe from I think 7 p.m. or 6:30 to 8 p.m. depending on you. So this is just a proposed timetable, and you can use that for the rest of the days, and you adapt to your own timetable. Okay, but now whenever we draw this timetable, it is not sufficient. Why? Because if you say on Monday in the morning I'm studying maths, what are you actually studying in maths? So there is another timetable that I'm also going to show you, which is actually an objective timetable. It tells you exactly the objectives you're supposed to attain, maybe for a week or for the month in the various subjects, so that you know exactly how to place those objectives in your main timetable you have. All right, so basically I just pulled out some things. All right, so maybe you could say in mathematics what I'm going to attain for this month, or maybe for this week. Yes, because basically you have just 1 month to write the GCE, so you cannot be saying that for this month this is just what you are going to cover. You need to cover all your program. Okay, so I can say for this week I'm going to do in maths projectile motion and circular motion, direct collision and momentum, maybe curves. In fact, I can just say for this week I'm going to cover all these topics. It all depends on the rate at which you read, how fast you read, how fast you understand. You can just set up your own objectives. Okay, but this is just a template that you can use. So I could say for this week, if I'm a fast learner, I could be able to catch up with all these topics. All right, in further maths, all these topics, in physics, all these topics, in chemistry, all these topics, and in biology, all these topics, because at least I've been reading the topics. So what I do is that if maybe I'm a fast learner, okay, what I do is that I just have to go through these topics. Then so many mocks have been written, I just now have to, if maybe on Monday we saw that for maths you have maths on, in fact you have maths on Monday in the morning, so I could say on Monday in the morning I'm going to be working on projectile motion and circular motion. Then the next time I have maths again, I'm going to be solving all the mock questions of this year that I have only on these two topics. Okay, so I just go to those mock questions, I figure out the questions from these two topics, and I solve as many mocks as possible. Okay, then same thing happens for the rest of the subjects. So whenever I set up these objectives, it clearly identifies if you're progressing with your studies or you are not progressing, because at the end of the week you can be able to account for what you have been studying throughout the week. At least there it is keeping track of everything you're doing, and you know if you're making progress with your studying or maybe whatsoever is happening. All right, so I think with this you can be able to set up your own timetable, your own objectives, and how to attain those objectives. Now there is the MAFA WhatsApp channel where every day I share some resources with students, maybe past mock questions that have been getting for this year and for other years, some marking guides as well, some videos there, that's video links to some topics that are here in this YouTube channel, but students face difficulties in getting them, some solutions to some interesting problems that students share with me. Everything happens in that channel. So if you want to be added to that channel, just contact me here. And please, when you contact me, make sure you present yourself, because it's very difficult for me to reply to a message where I don't have a clear picture of who the person is, because there are so many students that contact me and so many other people. So when you contact me, make sure you present yourself with your name, your school, and how you got my contact. Okay, and then before requesting to be added to the WhatsApp channel. When that is done, I'm just going to send you the link to the WhatsApp channel and you join. When you join the WhatsApp channel, make sure you follow the WhatsApp channel and you turn on your notifications, so that whenever information is being posted in the channel, you'll be notified to come and see whatever has been posted. Again, I'm going to emphasize on the fact that when you contact me, make sure you present yourself with your name, your school, and how you got my contact. If it's from YouTube, say you got my contact from YouTube, all right, then I'm going to add you to the channel. If you don't do all of this, I might not even respond to your message because I think you're not serious. Okay, so make sure you like the video. If the video is good, you subscribe to the channel and you turn on your notification so that whenever subsequent videos are uploaded, you will be notified to come and watch. See you guys in the next interesting video, and stay blessed.